Hey, yeah, what's up? This Marcello Currents up in this, Disciple Marcello Currents up in this, Rain back up in this, anti-Illuminati all day, anti-telepathy all day, anti-America all day, anti-cop all day, and everybody with him, yeah. So what we gonna do is, since half of these people, this is how I feel, half of these people on the streets act like the police. You know what I'm saying? If they ain't looking, if they talking, they ain't talking, they looking. You know what I'm saying? So half of them, they don't act like street people no more to me. They act like cops. All these street people say they thugs. You moving around like cops these days. You can moving around like cops these days. When they start doing that. Anyway, so I'm gonna start reaching out to some of these fellas that's locked up. Start seeing how they feel about 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children. You know I'm doing this campaign. Let's see how the felons feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna write my cousin that's locked up. I'm gonna let him know. My cousin has been locked up for years. I'm gonna let him know the law. Yeah, let's see how he feel about that. Let's see how he feel about 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children. You know how they go in prison. You know how they go hard in the paint for kids. You know what I'm saying? They find out 40 states allow adults to have sex with children. They find out there's 12 states, a quarter of the country, that allows no minimum age, which means adults can have sex with can marry any age. And in Massachusetts, a man, fully grown man can marry 12-year-old girls. Let's see how all these felons and prisoners locked up, all these inmates that's locked up doing life on death row, and all these felons that's locked up for 10 years plus. Let's see how they feel about all this craziness going on. So I'm gonna just call out each the most about 10 of the most dangerous prisons in in the country. I looked up like 10 of the most dangerous prisons. So I'm gonna be calling them out, and I'm just do it like that. So the first one is United States Penitentiary, Marion. This is in Marion. This is in Illinois. How you think the United States Penitentiary, Marion, feel about um, 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children? America having the age world record in world history of all time, lowest age of consent of all time. How you think these prisoners in United States Penitentiary, Marion, feel about that? America having the lowest age in consent of all time, which is 7 years old, which means the government allowed grown men in the state of Delaware in 1880 to have sex with 7-year-old girls. This is still a government, folks, by the way. If you act like these decisions were made in a barn, it wasn't made in a barn. These decisions wasn't written in a barn. These decisions went through facilities of the government. Okay, because some of y'all think 1880, you start thinking barns and tumbleweed. No, this was made. These laws were passed in facilities. These laws were written in government facilities. Okay, in 1880, in Delaware, the age of consent was set at 7 years old, which means men could have sex with 7-year-old girls. And these laws were passed by the government. I wonder how the United States Penitentiary, Marion, would feel about that. I wonder about how Rikers Island would feel about that, right here in New York. I wonder how Rikers Island, all these guys locked up, these hardcore, tough, 300-pound criminals, 250-pound criminals, 200-pound full of muscle criminals, how would they feel to know 40 states allows adults to have sex with children? 40 states. These are men that are aware of the technicalities of the law. They realize what adult is and what child is, and how people can be held responsible because it's a child. But our government is not responsible because it's a child when they make laws concerning adults with children. I wonder how all these hardcore, the worst criminal in Rikers Island, I wonder how he or she would feel about the adults having sex with children in 40 states. I wonder how he or she would feel about 12 states, which is a quarter of the country, that allows no minimum age, which means they can marry down to 7 years old. No minimum age. This law is in 12 states, which means any of those 12 states these 12 states, which is, I'm gonna name them right quick. It's California, Idaho, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Rhode Island, Washington, West Virginia, Wyoming, and those laws went through July 1st, 2019. Okay. In those 12 states I just named, they can get married to a minimum age of even 5 and 7 years old. I wonder how Rikers Island would feel about that. I wonder how Rikers Island would feel about America, not Africa, not Nigeria, not Philippines. I wonder how Rikers Island would feel to know that their country that they're locked up in has the lowest age, the world record in all modern world records. The world record in all modern world records for the lowest age of consent for sex, meaning the lowest age that someone consent to an adult to have sex with them. 7 years old in the state of Delaware. I wonder how Rikers Island would feel about that. I wonder how San Quentin State Prison would feel about that. Knowing that 40 states allows adults to have sex with children, guys. 12 states, no minimum age. In Massachusetts, they can get married. A man can marry an adult, a girl, 12 years old, in Massachusetts, in the states of Massachusetts right now in 2022. I wonder how San Quentin would feel about that. San Quentin State Prison. I wonder how Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary would feel about that. 40 states allow adults to have sex with children. No minimum age in 12 states, which means they can marry at any age. Fully grown men that have no compatibility with with children. Fully grown men have no compatibility, relationally speaking, with children, and in 12 states, they can marry them at no minimum age, which means down to 5 and 7 years old. Yeah, right now, 2022, I know it's mind blowing, but go check it, go Google it. There's no minimum age, meaning there's no low age where you can stop. Okay? I wonder how Louisiana State Penitentiary would feel about that. Louisiana State Penitentiary, how they would feel about 40 states allow how hard prisoner inmates are on pedophiles. I wonder how they would feel about 40 states, which is the majority of this country, allowing adults to be with legal children. These inmates, if they ain't aware of nothing else, they're aware of the law. And I can break this down to full plain English, and they will fully understand, unlike you civilian citizens in America. They will understand that either a human being is either an adult or a child. And you can be charged for being with an adult, a child in this country. But yet, 40 states allows adults by law to be with children. We don't care what the age is. It's the fact that the compromise is made. It's too much of a contradiction when you're locking up people for being with children, but certain children you can be with by law in 40 states. I wonder how Folsom State Prison would feel about that. Folsom State Prison. 40 states allow adults to be with children. I wonder how Folsom State Prison would feel about that. Knowing that these pathetic hypocrites that done got complacent out here, I wonder how they would like these fresh fresh, violent prisoners knowing about what you're doing. People you forgotten about. Yeah, they're alive right now. I know you forgot about them, but they're alive. And I wonder how they will feel as a whole prison community, men and women, knowing that 40 states allows adults to have sex with children, knowing that they have a 12-state no minimum age law in 12 states that allows adults to marry as low as they perverted minds will allow them to marry in 12 states, which is a quarter of 50, which is a quarter of the country. Yeah, I wonder how the whole prison community would feel about that. Since you complacent domestic cats, American civilians are ignoring it, just like a cat ignores its food and owner and all kind of things. You're like an ignoring cat, a cat that ignores everything like a little diva. So we're gonna go to people that are locked up, that'll perk their ears up at information like this. Okay, how Sing Sing Correctional Facility would feel about this? How Sing Sing Correctional Facility would feel about this? Knowing that the greatest superpower in the world has the most crummiest history with the world record for all of modern day world record keepings. They have the lowest record for the age of consent. I know it's hard to believe. Most people would think it's some third world country somewhere where children are abused and misused. No, right here in America. How would Sing Sing Correctional Facility feel about that? This is modern day. This is right now. Right now. 40 states allows adults to have sex with children, folks. All you inmates, 40 states. 40 states allows adults to have sex with children. Yeah. And guess what? Through all the administrations, guess what, prisoners, inmates, all the American, all the government, all these presidents and vice presidents have done nothing about it over the years. It has never been 18 as the age of consent in 50 states, and they complaining about pedophiles. While you're fighting pedophiles in your in mentality among your community, in the prison community, they're fighting against your fight, if you will, by allowing 40 states to have sex with children, by allowing adults to marry in 12 states no minimum age, which means in 12 states in this country, they can marry any age. 5 and 7 and 8 and 9, single number age children. So while you're fighting against pedophiles, your country is fighting against you. They're contradicting your fight. Okay? There's no way that family men would sit down and pass laws by any means that allows 40 states to have sex with children. No family man would do that. Yeah. While they're looking for monsters, that is the monster. That's the worst monster there is. Through laws, it's one thing for men to make mistakes and get locked up where you at in prison, right? And it's another thing for people to sit down and pass laws in the government. That's a whole nother animal. They are not, even though you fight these pedophiles, these people are worse. It's one thing for a man to go fondle a kid in the Target. And it's another thing for another man to sit down and pass laws in the government that allows men to marry with no minimum age. That means they can marry any age in 12 states. You look it up for yourself. I wonder how Cook County Jail would feel. 40 states allow adults to have sex with children. Cook County, how they would feel. Cook County Jail in America. How would they feel knowing these hypocrites? These pedophiles have been under our nose all this time because there is some audience, there are some people that made them feel the need that this would complement or be for some people. They're not just passing laws for no one, for no man's land. They're not just passing laws for ghosts. They're not passing laws for scarecrows. I wonder how Cook County would feel. 40 states allow adults to have sex with children. 12 states in this country has no minimum age, which means they can marry in these 12 states any age their pathetic heart desires. I wonder how ADX Florence facility feels about this. ADX Florence facility. I wonder how they feel, the men and women. 40 states allow adults to have sex with children. World record of all time, of all records, over China, over Philippines, over any country in Africa, they have the world record. America, the United States of America, not Canada, not North America, only America, United States of America, okay? 40 states allows adults to have sex, adult penis to go into children's vagina in 40 states. Okay, I gotta tell you raw, because if people don't understand, they don't understand what it means. They don't understand what that means and equates to. Okay? So I know you do. Attica Correctional Center. Attica Correctional Center. I wonder how Attica Correctional Center feels about 40 states allow adults to have sex with children. Attica Correctional Center. See, it don't matter what age they are. Long as they are children, they can't handle the responsibility of taking care of a child. This is why you don't allow children to have sex. Okay, they have a child, then you're complaining about children. You see, these would be the same people that make articles of complaining about children underage underage pregnancies. Sit around and make articles about it. But yet, in 40 states, you're allowing adults to have sex with children and produce children, possibly, obviously, making the potential higher for them to have children underage when they're not financially responsible. This is the reason why we don't do this, folks. It's because they're not financially responsible. You might have some kids that are responsible, but most American children, I don't care what age it is under 18, they do not have no money. And that means they can have children and have no means to take care of them and be depending on their parents, depending on the child's grandparents to take care of the child. And they already taking care of their child. So now the grandparents is taking care of their children and their grandchildren. And in 40 states, they should know that an adult having sex with children, this is a potential outcome. This is a potential scenario where grandparents will be taking care of grandchildren because children under the age of 18 has had a child by a man. I wonder how Attica Correctional Center would feel about that. Attica Correctional Facility. See, I gotta get the felons involved. I got to get the real ones involved, the real criminals involved, because these people out here, I don't know what they are. I don't relate to them. You know what I'm saying? They sit back and hear stuff like this and they wait for something else. They wait for you to mess up when the country's already messed up. They wait for you to make a mistake when the country has made the worst mistakes in world history. They have the lowest age for consent in world history. And you act like that. That means something. I don't care what time it happened. I don't care what time it happened. It calls for this system to cease. Like I tell people in other videos, if you had someone that had a house in 1880 that 7-year-old girls were having sex with fully grown men, what would you want done with the house? You would want the house condemned. You wouldn't care if it was 1880 that this was going on. You would want the house condemned, right? So why don't we want the White House and the government system condemned? They passed a law that allowed fully grown men to have sex with 7-year-old girls. Why didn't you want that condemned? You don't care what time when it happened. Would you want to sleep in a house where 7-year-old girls were having sex with adults? then why do you want to sleep under this government that passed a law, no matter what time it was, that allowed adults to have sex with 7-year-old girls? I know it's convenient for the dark patriots to try to ignore it, but you can't ignore it. Because sooner or later, this information is going to get in the right hands. And we ain't going to need you, and you're going to be with them. You're going to be with the people that passed these laws, by the way. Talk about it wasn't us. Just how white people try to say about slavery. It wasn't us, but it was your family. And with some people, that's good enough. Didn't get you, but we get your family. Hey, I know in a perfect world, you would like to say it wasn't me. That's in a perfect world. Some people feel like getting the family is good enough. Hey, you're the continuation of them. That's how they look at it. You're the continuation of them. Hey, I'm sorry. It's not a perfect world after all, is it? In a perfect world, you can say it ain't me. But guess what, unfortunately, in a fallen world, in a dark fallen world, family is the next best thing. I know, too much truth, huh? Family is the next best thing. That's what gangsters do. That's what gangsters do. They can't get you. Guess what they do? They get the family. So for all you people the white America who feel no need to give retribution for slavery, some people could just uprise and say, hey, you're the next best thing. You're the next best thing. You're the closest next best thing. Gangsters do it all the time. Can't get you to get the family. So why in this case would you enslave the whole people? Why do you think people wouldn't feel that way? Just like gangsters feel when they can't get who they want, they go get the family. Yeah, I know, it's convenient for you to say it ain't me. It's the same thing with also these laws. The American government, you can sit down and say, well, I didn't do it, but you're the next thing in line. Right now, you in office right now, I'm sorry. You might have didn't pass the law, but you'll say the same thing that white people say concerned, like with slavery, it ain't me, I didn't do it. But you the next best thing, you the family. You the lineage of the politicians. Boom. You are the next in line. You are the lineage. You are the family. You are the children of the politicians that passed these laws. So you the next best thing in line. Some would say you're a dinner in that case. So we're just asking for, me personally, they played around my life, and I have no mercy. You got to know that's, I'm not going to have any mercy. They didn't have any mercy on me. They thought they had me in something they didn't. I already been checked out by the best. I had a friend that was on death row. If anything was funny with me, if I had any pedophile on me or any energy like that, he would have picked it up just like that. Death row inmate? I think so. Probably been in prison as well before death row, I'm pretty sure of it. You don't find too many people that go straight to death row. And yet he ain't see nothing on me. That's why I don't play any games. You don't see any funny energy. I've already been tested by a million people, Marines. I lived with a Marine. I've been around death row inmate. They cleared my spirit. They cleared my energy. Mind, soul, and heart said I was good. So who are these feline domestic cats? Think that some in this American community, they like to play games with people's lives. You see how many people be locked up? Then they get out 10 years later, they talking about they didn't do it. Every 3 to 4 years, you get somebody like that. Might be shorter time than that. They didn't do the crime, and now they get set free, and all you do is hand them a measly $1 million, which can't make up for all those holidays that they missed and all that time they missed with their family. You can never make that up. And $1 million definitely ain't gonna do it in 2022. $1 million is basically $500,000 these days. That's what it is. $1 million is like $500,000. $1 million is not $1 million in 2022. $1 million is like $5 million or something like that. That's like $1 million. $1 million, as soon as you take $1 off, that's down in the hundreds of thousands. It's only in these days the equivalent to me of half of that. Okay? So consider that, man. But yeah, all you inmates, man, go check it out, man. Check out the age of consent in history, man. Go check out just your state and go check out all these things, man. We finding out the real America. I'm finding out the real America out here, man. Go ahead and check it out.